Angie Stone's tragic passing might not have been an accident after all, at least according to Jaguar Wright, who just dropped some jaw-dropping allegations. Y'all already know Jaguar doesn't hold back when it comes to exposing the industry's darkest secrets, and this time is no different. She's claiming that some very powerful people wanted Angie gone, and the timing? Suspicious as hell. Just weeks before her passing, Angie was gearing up for a legal battle against industry elites, accusing them of stealing from her for years. Then, out of nowhere, she's in a car crash that only she didn't survive? Jaguar is calling foul play, and she has a lot to say. So let's break it all down. Something about this just isn't adding up. Angie Stone wasn't just any artist, she was a fighter. And in the weeks leading up to her passing, she was gearing up for a battle that could have changed everything. She was reportedly planning to take legal action against Universal Music Group, UMG, over unpaid royalties, exposing years of alleged exploitation. She had receipts, and she was done staying silent. Then, out of nowhere, tragedy struck. Angie was involved in a fatal car crash, but what's raising eyebrows is the fact that she was the only victim who didn't make it. No passengers, no other casualties. Just her. Now, to be clear, no one is suggesting that more people should have been hurt, but let's be real. The math isn't mathing. Fans have been side-eyeing this situation ever since the news broke, especially considering the long history of artists mysteriously losing their lives right when they start challenging the industry's biggest players. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Some theories suggest that Angie may have already been gone before the crash even happened. If that's true, then this was way more than just an accident. And Jaguar Wright? She's saying exactly what a lot of people have been thinking. Let's rewind for a second and talk about why Angie was even in this fight in the first place. Because when you look at her career, it's clear that she had been robbed for years. Keep watching, because once you see how much she was owed and who was behind it, things start making a lot more sense. 2. Angie's legacy and influence. Before we get into the industry betrayal, let's talk about what made Angie Stone such an irreplaceable force in music. She wasn't just a singer, she was a pioneer, a trendsetter, and a major influence on some of the biggest names in the game. Born on December 18, 1961, Angie grew up surrounded by music. Her parents introduced her to gospel at an early age, and the church became her first stage. Her father, a member of a gospel quartet, took her to see live performances from some of the biggest gospel groups of the time, fueling her passion for music. By the time she was a teenager, it was clear that Angie wasn't just another church singer. She had something special. Her impact on music stretched across multiple genres. She was one of the architects of neo-soul, inspiring artists like Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, and Mariah Carey with her rich, soulful voice. But she wasn't just making waves in R&B. Her influence ran deep in hip-hop too. She was part of The Sequence, the first ever female hip-hop group, and their hit Funk You Up became legendary. The track was later sampled by Dr. Dre and even helped shape Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars's Uptown Funk. But here's the kicker. The Sequence never got their credit. Insert a clip of The Sequence performing or Angie discussing her musical roots. And it didn't stop there. Angie went on to work with some of the biggest names in the industry. She collaborated with legends like Prince and Lenny Kravitz, wrote and arranged for D'Angelo's Brown Sugar and Voodoo albums, and delivered R&B classics like I Wish I Didn't Miss You and No More Rain. Her voice, her sound, her essence shaped an entire era of music. But despite all her contributions, Angie spent most of her career fighting to get what she rightfully earned. And that's where the industry's betrayal comes in, because some of the biggest names in music allegedly took what was hers without a second thought. The industry betrayal. For years, Angie Stone was making history, but behind the scenes, she was being robbed in broad daylight. From unpaid royalties to stolen songs and missed opportunities, the industry took everything from her while she kept pushing forward. It started with The Sequence. Their song, Funk You Up, was groundbreaking. But when Dr. Dre sampled it for Keep Their Heads Ringin', and later when Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars took inspiration for Uptown Funk, The Sequence saw none of that money. Angie and her group mates had to sue just to get recognition. And that was just the beginning. Then there was D'Angelo. While the world was praising him for Brown Sugar and Voodoo, Angie was the one helping craft his sound, writing, arranging, and shaping the music that made him a superstar. But instead of giving her the credit she deserved, D'Angelo reportedly downplayed her role. Their romantic relationship only made things more complicated. And when they split, it was like he wanted to erase her contributions completely. And she wasn't just getting shortchanged by the men in the industry. Angie once revealed that she was devastated when she found out that Mary J. Blige had taken one of the songs she had worked on with D'Angelo, originally called Every Day And D, renaming it Paradise and releasing it without giving Angie her credit. Then there was Jill Scott, whose label allegedly had her watching Angie's every move, studying her style, her image, and even her stage presence to mimic her.
That one of the biggest companies that I was with, Universal Music, it's the second part of the ugly truth. We began to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. As I begin to find out things that I never had to look into, because when you hire a team of people that, to some degree, supposed to have your back, you're thinking that they're getting it all together for you. You know, that's why, you know, I respect Oprah Winfrey in that respect when she said, do your own research. Just stoned the celebrity, that I let a lot of important things slip through the cracks only because I didn't know any better. I worked very hard to take care of my kids as a single mother, and I'm being transparent. My kids' fathers just were not doing what they're supposed to do. So I had to step up and go in and do everything that I needed to do for my family, which is why I worked so hard, which is why I traveled so much, which is why I did shows, because at the end of the day, after 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. What I learned how to do was go out, work hard, get paid, come home, pay my bills, take care of my family. That part. The legal side, when you hire attorneys and managers and agents, they're supposed to make sure the gray area over there that they're in the driver's seat for, they're supposed to make sure you're taken care of. And even though they were taking care of themselves, they thought very little of taking care of me. And I know because I've seen it with my own eyes. So I'm just here to let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins.
Now that Jaguar Wright has put this out in the open, fans are demanding answers. Was Angie Stone's passing truly an accident, or was there something more sinister at play? Was foul play involved? Will we ever get the truth? Or will this, like so many other industry deaths, be quietly swept under the rug? One thing is certain, Angie wasn't afraid to fight back. She spent her whole career battling for what was rightfully hers, only to have the industry turn its back on her time and time again. And just when she was ready to take legal action and force these powerful figures to pay up, she suddenly loses her life? Fans aren't buying it, and the conversation is only getting louder. If history has taught us anything, it's that the music industry doesn't take kindly to artists who stop playing by the rules. From Michael Jackson to Prince to Aaron Carter, there's a long list of artists who mysteriously lost their lives after calling out the system.
What do they want?
What do you mean? They want their payment. They want their pound of flesh. They want you to keep feeding the system. Doesn't matter how hard she worked for it. That's not her money. That's their money. That's what they do. They've been robbing me for years.
Yep.
They stole more money from me than they stole from Angie. I can't stop thinking about Nick Carter and Aaron Carter. I can't stop thinking. Brother in the Illuminati, brother not in the Illuminati. Brother in the Illuminati commits all kinds of heinous crimes against women, and he's okay, but his brother's gone. And all he wanted was his money so he could push on. Like, how many of these things have to happen in front of the public? Of course they're going to attack, I'll be sure. Of course they're going to attack me. Of course they're going to attack anybody who's interested in the truth. Of course they're going to come at us really hard for that first 72 hours and make sure we stop posting, or at least get us flagged from being able to go live, so nobody thinks about the details of the fact that we just watch Angie Stone get moved around in real time on her son's.
So now, the question remains, will anyone be held accountable? Will there be a real investigation into what happened to Angie? Or will this just become another unsolved industry tragedy? At the end of the day, it's not just about Angie. It's about every artist who has been taken advantage of, lied to, and robbed by the very people who were supposed to protect them. And until someone forces the industry to change, how many more artists are we going to lose before the cycle finally stops? What do y'all think? Was Angie's passing just a tragic accident? Or is Jaguar Wright onto something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. And while you're here, check out this next video, because trust me, the truth about the music industry is even darker than you think.